So I did not know this was Ancestry.com. Not Ancestry, Ancestry.com. Lestat, what you doing over there with your mama? Why was they edging us all episode, making us think that Louis and Lestat were going to get back together? Especially being toi and moi. What was that about? And can we get into the auction at the beginning of the episode? First of all, none of us were here. None of us were here. Can you say that you were here? Are you going to say you were here? We're going to light everything on fire and still sell it to you. So let's set the scene. Louis walks in with only one foot. Okay, leg prosthetic in the other shoe. Assad is sitting perfectly comfortable. This season has been so interesting, it made me actually pull out Anne Rice's book, okay? And one thing I must say about the interview with Lestat, okay, the interview with Lestat, because that's what we learned. We learned the story of Lestat because apparently everything that Louis Delsac, is that his name? Everything that Uncle Louis has told us has been a lie, okay? Basically, Louis' story was Claudia, and Lestat was only a small portion. And when he found out that Louis made this book about him, Lestat's finna tell us his own version, okay, about him being a rock star, all that kind of stuff. But can we really trust Lestat in telling us this story? Because apparently in episode 1, he's doing a lot of drugs. So is he not high while he's telling apparently maybe Daniel that's recording this information about the book? And did he stutter when he was a child? And at this point, I don't know who is telling the truth. I don't know if Daniel's telling the truth, if Louis is telling the truth. Well, Daniel got the truth from Louis, and he got 2 Pulitzer Prizes, according to Lestat in this new story. And how do we know that Lestat's going to tell the whole truth? And apparently he said he has some scars on his body and other things that he never talked about vampires actually peeing and having a lot of sex and the order that goes into. So I really don't know who am I supposed to believe, because we've been learning for 2 seasons that Louis' story is true. So, and then they broke it down from when Lestat was talking about the story with Claudia, and Assad has a whole different version of Louis with Claudia. So do we believe Lestat or do we believe Louis? But however, whoever I choose to believe, I'm very interested in hearing Lestat's version of what the truth is, especially a book that's supposed to be about him. What better way to hear from the horse's mouth about his true life? If you're watching the Vampire Lestat, I'm very interested to hear your opinion about who you believe more, Louis or Lestat, because I'm a couple episodes behind. I forgot that this is only streaming on AMC Plus at the moment. It's not on HBO Max. So yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts. I have an unpopular take for you. Lestat is a rock star in this show because he loves attention. One of the biggest points that Lestat is trying to make to all his vampire brothers is that it's a big to all of you. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what it's been since the whole thing. And since I've been reading this book, I feel like, well, Anne Rice's book, the actual Vampire Lestat, I feel like that was his way of showing all the vampires that he didn't care, he don't love him, and he wanted to expose him to the whole world. And Louis was kind of like a little way to expose vampires before he got the chance to do it. So since Louis kind of introduced that first, like push to exposing vampires, then Lestat went ahead and followed behind him and said, you know what, I'm going to put it in the music. We're going to become one of the biggest bands in the world, and I'm going to piss everybody off, and I dare them to come do something to me about it. Because you remember at the end of the interview with the Vampire Season 2, Louis had the biggest balls in the world. He said, if you want something, you can come find me. If you want it, you can find me in the, hey, come on, jump on it. And to me, what better thing to be than a rock star? He's kind of narcissistic. He's kind of chaotic. He's very like self-centered, very much. And he's like so captivating. And Sam Reed, your body. Now, I don't mean to have a conversation about a body, but he's wearing them tights. He's wearing them jeans. He's wearing them leather pants. Okay, the bodies are looking amazing. And Sam Reed, ooh. Lestat, when he was on that stage and he started headbanging, and oh my gosh, and the music is amazing this season. But all in all, what better way to let the world know that you're a vampire and there's so many vampires in the city than Satan's Night Out? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this direction that the Vampire Lestat is taking as Lestat as a rock star is the right direction? Because technically that's what's going on inside the book, inside the real book. So let me know. I think one of the funniest things about episode 1 of the Vampire Lestat is that Louis Louis' dick was hard just for Lestat to be trying to beg for him and back. And this whole time, Louis is like, yeah, Lestat's like, I want you to come see me. Like, we're in a beautiful part of the world, and this is so amazing. And come see me. I want you to come see me. 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 And then he gets these text messages while Louis on the screen and whatnot. Like, Lestat didn't show him off the balcony, and he's like, oh, it's beautiful. And I can just bend you over right here, and you can bend me over. Actually, I have a nice spot right in my condo where we can have wonderful sex right above the bed, and da-da-da-da. And then he gets a text message to his phone that says, it's a new book out that says The Interview with the Vampire. And he said, Lestat to Louis said, do you know something about a book? While Louis on the phone like this. Feeling it. He's feeling himself. Louis on the phone like this, like, I might show up. I might show up and give you some of the cookies. I might show up. And then Lestat's like, do you know something about a book? And Louis said, well, I might have heard something about a book coming out a month ago. You dirty son of a gun, okay? All that shit went out the window. And my heart kind of broke a little bit because those are my two gay dads. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like Claudia's brother in a way. We sat down, we was watching, our dads fight together in the scene of The Interview with the Vampire for at least 2 seasons. But yeah, so unfortunately that relationship set sail. But I think it was just funny really watching it, how everything switched. Louis was like, yeah, you want this. You want the sexy chocolate. You want this. And then he said, you know something about a book coming out? And he said, well, I only know for a month. But how do you feel? Did you really want Lestat and Louis to get back together as much as I did? Or did you want Lestat to move on? Because you really can't ever really hold Lestat down, can you?
Should have ended it there. My tour, my hedonistic pursuit of extremity. All of it. And had I done so, the regretful dead, the traumatized still alive, would be somewhere other than they are today. And I am not saying that the attempted extinction of the Y chromosome across the continents was all my fault. Now that would suggest a level of self-importance even I'm not comfortable with. But upon reflection, made a contribution. It was the spring of 2020.
Magnus, my abuser. More wine. Drink more wine. More wine. Drink more wine. That was crazy, telling us that to get drunk like that. And then to feast on him. Magnus? Yes, you sat at a long table next to a finger, a hand, a body, a corpse. See, reading the Vampire Lestat, the book, was actually very interesting to see them kind of like take an adaptation to the actual show. And I can't wait, like every week that I'm watching the show, I'm so excited to see how they interpret Anne Rice's book. But first, let's talk about the vampire Magnus, Lestat's maker. I feel like a lot of you feel like Magnus was already disgusting looking, but the way that they described him in the book is, first of all, Magnus didn't have any more teeth beside the fangs that he had. He only wore rags. So I feel like they made him more presentable, as nasty as they could, that we could stomach it. You get what I'm saying? Because in the book, he was ragged, he was old, he was decrepit, he was thin, skin was terrible, and he didn't have any teeth in his mouth. So when we first learned, so let me just break it down. Because in the book, it's a little different than they made it different because they kind of just try to show us Magnus inside the music video from Lestat's point of view. And first of all, can I say Lestat has a lot of fucking trauma, like from his mother, from Magnus, from Nicholas, from Armand. Like Lestat is a walking trauma sack, like literally. And in episode 3, spoiler, all this is kind of spoiler, but for his mom to go in there and go fuck the doppelganger, or his imposter, I don't know what to say, like his person who's supposed to fill in for him, that was just disgusting. She's one of those parents that inflicts trauma over and over again instead of taking accountability or responsibility. Yes, she was right about Nicholas and telling Lestat not to transform him. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about Magnus. Magnus, I don't know if it was implied that Magnus sexually assaulted Lestat, but he had some affliction or obsession go see Obsession, had some type of obsession with Lestat when he seen him perform as a actor, you know, in a rinky-dink like play, you know, and they really didn't focus too much on that in episode 3. So Magnus basically kidnapped Lestat in the middle of the night when he was laying with Nicholas, and he drove him up a wall, and he dropped him down the wall, and he basically was toying with him all week, feeding on him until Lestat begged for him to live. You know, Lestat, he was like, you don't have nothing else. Like the color from your eyes about to disappear. Beg for the gift. Beg for the gift. And at first, Lestat said no. And then he took the gift. That's the scene that y'all seen where he, you know, his throat and bled all over Lestat. So the situation with Magnus was 10 times worse than what they try to make it seem inside the story. But what they did capture is how severe the trauma was, how severe, how we can compartmentalize the trauma that's inflicted to us by other people and try to forget. And so that whole car scene was so powerful because whether Magnus was in the back seat or the front seat, Lestat started saying, I believe it was Psalms 12. I believe it was one of them Psalms. And Magnus can't stand a prayer because he's a demon. And Magnus burned himself in front of Lestat too. That was another trauma thing too. And in the book, Lestat begged him over and over and over and over again, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Like you just made me, don't leave me, don't leave me. And basically Magnus was just like, I'm old and I need somebody to take over my place. I'm a fledgling. But that made me think too, because I haven't got that far in the book yet. Did Lestat spreaded his ashes, right? Because in the book, he threw the ashes out the window, right? Like once he moved into the place and he took his cloak, well, when he went back into the place behind his stone, he sprinkled his ashes, right, so he wouldn't come back. But yeah, this video was basically to really focus on how Magnus looked inside the TV show, then how they described him inside the book. Are you killer? Are you killer? Are you killer? Well, you may know him by Bruce. One of my biggest fears has always been off in accident, or like when people are like talk about drive-by shootings, like I just be feeling like wrong place, wrong time. No, it's wrong place, wrong time, right? Yeah, I just feel like that's always been like one of my biggest fears because just now we were talking about Lestat in here, okay, in the Vampire Lestat, right? That's the name of the show. But it's important that we bring up Louis in this situation too, because my baby, dicking me down, selling me, driving me crazy. Like, look at him. Louis is so fine. But he had to get revenge for Claudia. And I do think for me, I haven't got that far in the book yet, the Vampire Lestat, but I feel like it's such a disservice to me because I love Claudia so much. And then they made us in the show, I believe in season 2, because I can't remember the actress name. They had to replace her because she had a conflict schedule with season 2's run of the Interview with the Vampire. So Claudia had ended up being a totally different person. So them bringing back Claudia again for this person who works in a restaurant, I can't wait to see, you know, what place or what role she does with Louis and how that affects him by keep going to this restaurant frequent and seeing this lady, or if it's really, no, because Claudia died. They opened up that sun and they said, hallelujah, hallelujah. They rained the sun down on her and her girlfriend. That was so sad in season 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I just miss Claudia so much. And I seen a lot of people, they were talking about, oh, well, Louis was sitting at the table still looking disappointed because he didn't get the satisfaction that he wanted by killing Bruce. Who told you that? Who said that?
Who said that? Who said that?
Who said that? Two things can be true at one time. He could have got that satisfaction that he was looking for, and he could have sat around and still been missing Claudia. Like, he definitely went and ruined Bruce, and Bruce didn't seem like he was apologetic about it at all. It was just like, I did what I did. Why is you here? You know, and I need you to leave because I'm in here trying to make a baby. And then that lady in episode 3, she was a mortal, right? That Bruce was with. He was like, because he was like, I'm not sure that's how it works. Can a vampire have a baby with a mortal? I think everything, I think it was justified. I think Louis did his big one. And he got revenge for Claudia. To Claudia! Period.